All right. Hey, this is Eric Amati for the Family First Life Medicare, FFL Medicare. And joining me today is Tristan Labelle. So I wanted to introduce Tristan to the world here. Tristan's joining the FFL Medicare team. And Tristan, you're no stranger to insurance, right? You've been in the insurance game for a minute, right?
Yeah, for a few years now. I think about 4.5, 5 years.
Okay. And you have a successful Medicare practice that you've had for the last how many years? 2 years, 3 years?
So grew about a $1.3 million business in about a year and a half in the Medicare side. So I was at a practice company selling Medicare before, but being on my own about a year and a half.
And yeah, and so you've had your life business with us. You and I have been working together for what, a year and a half or so, about right?
Yep.
On the life side of things. And then when we started putting the FFL Medicare thing together last year, the timing wasn't right for you guys to look at moving your Medicare business over here, but you're doing that now, correct?
Yep. Absolutely, man.
That's awesome. So we're going to get into the what's and whys and how all that came about. But first, just tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Like, how did you get into the business? Who lured you into the insurance game?
Yeah, it's funny. I actually wasn't lured in at all. I am prior service, prior military, and when I got out, I kind of just went back home, and I saw some health issues with my mom. She was going through a cancer, and we had an insurance agent come over to the house. And after a couple of them, right, you got to kind of figure out which ones are good. And he helped us out. He helped us really just unbiased. He's like, hey, look, you should change this insurance, do this and this and this. And because of that, because he was such a good insurance agent, he saved us as a family like hundreds of thousands of dollars on the cancer costs. And she survived. She's in remission. She had really good insurance after that. And so it was like, holy smokes, like someone can really make an impact on a family just through insurance. Like I didn't realize how powerful that was. So I moved down to Miami and I just started applying for anything insurance related. I didn't know what I didn't know about the insurance industry. So, and then I came across a practice company that sold Medicare and life insurance and moved up the chain there. I noticed as you move up in the ranks of management that all these conversations start changing rather than helping families or helping, the agents grow. Now it's like, hey, our numbers aren't there. We need to hit our numbers. It's just numbers this, numbers that. And it was like, well, that's not why I got here. I came here, and got licensed to specifically help people and help people grow. And I tried to start businesses before and I had no mentorship, no guidance whatsoever. And so they failed. And I really wanted to give back to that community as well. So when I came across Family First Life, I actually just called you because you were, I saw that you were successful in the business and I'm like, let's call this guy, he's in Texas. Right. Like he can't want to screw us over. So let's figure it out. And it was like, wow, it was just a match right there. So and it opened my whole world up about what the insurance industry can actually do. So
what is and I was that was one of those great serendipitous phone calls right there. What do you think, like when you say that it opened your eyes to what you could actually do like in the industry? Like how is what you see possible now different than what you saw possible before?
Well, for one, I didn't even know that you could contract with multiple carriers. So I thought you could only contract with one at a time. And so that was the first thing. And the second thing was that you were so open and honest about everything. And you're like willing to give whatever tools and resources and knowledge. Like you start talking to people at Family First, it's like, wow, nobody's hiding anything. This is really like, we just want to help people out, even if they're not like, you're not in there on their team or in their agency, just giving. And so that was like something that's like, wow, it even inspires me more to give back to the agents. So those are like the two big things of like, you can have really high contracts and you can get serious, good quality help.
So when you've been building your agency, let's talk a little bit about Medicare. Cause I know, well, and I don't want to like throw a bunch of preconceived notions at you, but I mean, agents that I've talked to, there's a lot of preconceived notions about, especially from our life insurance agents who know what they're doing to sell life insurance, but they're trying to think about getting into Medicare, right? And it's like, okay, well, I mean, uh, maybe one preconception is like, for example, like, don't you need to be a little bit older, to have credibility and talk to older, to seniors, right? Not from everybody, but I hear that one quite a bit. Isn't Medicare really complicated? I don't know if I want to add that to what I'm doing, right? Um, it it just seems like there's so much more to learn on Medicare. Like, what if people have claims? Like, I'm not going to know how to help them. Like, what doctors to go see and all that other kind of stuff. Um, how do you figure out, like, are their drugs covered or not covered? All these different questions that you hear, right? And I'm just kind of curious, like, when you started building your agency, uh, I know the majority of your business before was mostly Medicare, and then you started, like, it was in reverse for you guys, right? You started, like, bringing in life insurance into your Medicare practice. So,
Mhm.
like, why did you guys decide to focus on Medicare first and then kind of grow from there? Like, did you find it to be all those things, or was it easier than what people are making it?
I'll say that I would say it's comparable to life insurance, but I would almost say it's easier because we don't need to get banking information, which is like a huge objection with life insurance. You don't need their social, you don't need their banking information. And when you have really good tools with a good IMO, you can see it's like an insurance toolkit to where like you enter in the drugs, you enter in the doctors, and it will tell you what to do. And most of the plans, depending if they're doing a Medicare Advantage or a Medicare Supplement, a lot of people do Medicare Advantage, and that's free. So you're literally giving away insurance, and it's a no-brainer. And also too, for those agents that are doing life insurance first, like I think that that's foolish if you're not adding in Medicare because you would be literally increasing the value of your agency by minimum 30% your first year, and then you get all the residuals after that. So that passive income is something that I hunt. I think that the passive income equals freedom, and if you're not working to build that passive income in your agency, like that's crazy to me. That's
Mm,
obscene, and you're already seeing the clients anyway, so why not? So the preconceived notion that Medicare is harder and you need to know more about it, like that's in your head, which is most of this business in general too.
right. Um, what the agents that you've worked with in the past, are they like, do they fit a particular? I mean, uh, old people, young people, slick people, not so slick people, right? Technology savvy people, not technology savvy people.
I think that we have more diversity within the Medicare agents that will only sell Medicare than we do in the life insurance agents. And then you can, like, okay, so you go to an FFL convention or you go to an FFL event and you see like all these like younger people and they're getting into it and there's a lot of money and you can see that and breathe it and feel it. When you go look at a Medicare agency, it's like what is this? I feel like I'm standing in line at Subway or something. You know what I mean? Because it's so diverse. It's so diverse. So you have young people, you have old people have doing it for a long time. You have people that don't really know anything and they're crushing sales because they have a really good support system. And then you have people that, all ethnicities, all backgrounds, everywhere. So I mean, it's completely opposite in a way. So
Mhm. So, when it as you're thinking about, let's say that you had let's say that you're a life agent, right? Like, kind of put yourself in somebody else's shoes. You're a life agent. You're watching this podcast, and you're thinking to yourself, "Sounds good, man. I think I'm gonna pick up the Medicare game. I got my health license. Uh, what does that person do? Like, what's the easiest path to kind of start playing around with Medicare and start offering some Medicare assistance to their clients?"
I think that the number one thing would be to reach out. First things first, reach out and come up with a game plan, because I think that if you don't have a game plan and you're just kind of like going through the motions, it's not really going to take off for you. But if you have that guidance of people who have done this before, they reach out to you, they reach out to me, then it's like, okay, well, now a lot of your business is final expense and very easy issue stuff. Well, you should have a bunch of clients right now. Let's make up a game plan to go visit all those clients you already have a relationship with. Or if you're working a lot of mortgage protection, how can you inject Medicare into your agency? So if you have a good game plan and then you have the discipline to stick with that, then it'll work. So step one, reach out. And then step two, you always want to have a good IMO, which EIS or elder care is like number one, like phenomenal. Like they're the reason why besides you that we moved over all the business, right? Just because it's so awesome. And they have such a good platform for people who are trying to implement into their business. They have a whole support system. They have a whole team of people that are there literally waiting for a phone call to say, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. Can you help me out? And they're like, yeah, of course. They always answer. So that's great. So you have multiple areas of that you can reach out to, and ask for that support. So reach out, stay disciplined, come up with a plan.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. You mentioned elder care. I'm going to come back to you in a minute and ask you what you think is so cool about them specifically. But one of the things that I thought was super funny early on was, they only have one phone number. Like nobody would give me their direct number. It was just like, oh, just call the main number. And I'm like, no, man, I want your real phone number.
Yeah.
We're doing business together. I need your number. And they're like, just trust me. Like, just call the number. You'll see. And sure enough, now I love it. It's like, oh my God, I don't have to wonder about like who should call. I just call up, they answer, and I either ask for the person I want, in which case I get transferred immediately, or I go, hey, I'm confused about this. But oh, we got you. And it's really, I think that's why they built it that way.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's cool because it's not like press one for this or anything.
Right.
It's like,
It's a real
hello.
person.
You're
Yeah.
like, oh, so, all right, sweet, let's go, man. They
Yeah.
always answer. As long as they're open, they will answer. I've never had them not answer when they're open. So
Yeah.
that's cool.
Jeremy Pielemeyer is the guy that runs that company. And he told me a couple times, I was talking to him about another agency that we're talking to about coming over. And I go, man, what would you say is the number one differentiator about elder care? What makes elder care so amazing? And he goes, honestly, we're just like a 1950s company that's been teleported into today. Like we're just high touch, we have all the technology. We've invented a lot, half the stuff we use here, but he goes, but we're just at the end of the day, like we believe in that personal handshake type of business, and which I think is super rare, but I love. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you were on with Adrian yesterday, right? Just talking about the different resources they have.
Yep.
What was your takeaway from that conversation?
Well, I pretty much wrote a book, so I'll dumb it down. But big things for like why I moved my business over, because at the end of the day, a lot of people are like, well, an IMO is an IMO. Like, with Medicare, the commissions are pretty set, but you look at like the supporting system. And so when I was looking back at my time spent on the agency, I was spending a lot of time on building these trainings and talking on the phone with agents and coaching the initial. So if they'd never really sold insurance before, which we have a good group of recruits coming in that have no idea what they don't know, right? You have to constantly be like, okay, well, this is how you do a Medicare. This is what Medicare is. This is how it works, blah, blah, blah. Here's the training on how to use the platform. They completely take care of like all of that. So that eliminates that first level. So if you think about it like this, right, you're trying to grow your agency and maintain it. It's like an engine. That's like my best analogy. So you're building an engine, a car engine, and then once that's built, you're just kind of maintaining and switching out parts to make it a little bit faster or turn a little bit quicker. And so that initial building part, you can take away like 80% of that workload because they're there to help. They do one-on-one trainings to be able to make sure that people understand what's going on, because their motto, I don't know if this is their motto, but every time I talk to them, they say this, right? They're like, our whole job is to do everything that we possibly can. So then you can sell more insurance so that your agency can grow more and then they can write more apps,
I
which
love
is
that.
why we're here. Like, dude, like if you can get away a lot of this muck, like boring, important, but admin work, and you could just focus on writing business, that follows parallel to what Family First Life has to offer as well. So, and what the goal is, we just want to make everything simple and write a lot of apps. And Family First Life has become extremely successful in such a short amount of time because of that model. And elder care follows that model 100%. Second thing, the last IMO that I was at, we didn't have an actual reporting system in place. So we would get emails with a crazy password and you had to log in within 7 days, and you could look at it and you could download that report. But then after 7 days, that report would disappear forever. And that would come from each carrier on random days of the month. With EIS Elder Care, they have a full like platform to where you can see. It's a month behind because Medicare is a little bit slower than life insurance. But a month behind, you can see all the apps that your entire agency is writing. And then you can see like in the nitty gritties, like, okay, now it's AEP and people are switching a lot of plans. You could say, all right, well, now they're switching from United and they're switching over to Aetna. So you can kind of track that and move that because you want to take a pulse on your agency. So that makes it really easy. And the last straw for me was this. Okay. I had told my previous IMO, I said, hey, look, I have this big goal that I want to do this year. This is my goal. And they looked at me like I was insane. And they said, you're not going to do that. Like, that's not possible. That's never been done before. We don't think that that's realistic, man. Be realistic with us. And sitting at this table and I'm thinking, man, like Family First Life, you know, we shoot for huge numbers and you watch people achieve these numbers all the time. And it's like, why am I sitting at this table if they don't want to grow as bad as me? I want people to be equally as insane about these goals who I'm partnering with and working with as I am. If they're not about that, then like, dude, like I'll find someone else that's going to be crazy as me. So that was like the big, like last straw. I'm like, all right, this isn't the right place for me. So there's a couple key points that I noticed, and why I wanted to switch my business over.
Be reasonable, man. Get out of here.
Yeah.
When you told me that story, I was like, all right, yep, you're definitely in the right place.
Yep.
There's some quote, I can't remember how it goes, but it's something about the future belongs to unreasonable people, you know. They're the only ones that actually do anything remarkable. So, but dude, I'm fired up to have you come on and bring your, you know, not just your production, but like your expertise, your mind and your vision to the platform. You know, like, and just to be like, super clear about it with everybody, right? You're making yourself available, your expertise in terms of Medicare and how to roll out Medicare in your agency. You're making yourself available to anybody in the company, right? That wants to, you know, whether you're an agency builder or an agent, if you want to, you know, get with Tristan and get a game plan together. Like if you're like, hey, what do I do? And like, you'll offer that one-on-one coaching to just like, here, bro, here's what you do. Right. And in a couple minutes, you can give them some concrete steps and you're willing to do that for everybody. Right.
100%. Shoot me a text and then we'll schedule a call and we'll get it done.
Okay. Perfect, man. So, when we upload this on YouTube and stuff, we'll put your contact info and all that. And we're also adding you to the website. So for those of you guys that, again, you know, like we did this earlier, I mentioned this on an earlier broadcast, but we took the whole FFL Medicare, you know, we had fflmed.com. We still have that URL, but as the concept has grown and we've gotten more and more carriers, now we do ACA, now we're doing supplemental health, and we're doing just a bunch of different things. We decided to just broaden the platform. We now own this domain, ffl.health instead of .com, ffl.health. And the old fflmed.com site redirects to this one. And so it looks pretty much like the old site, just an updated logo, updated graphics, updated content. And Tristan's beautiful face will be on the About Us page. And so with all his contact info. And thanks for being on here with us, man. I know we can count on you for a bunch of future podcasts as well. We're going to be mapping out a bunch of future content. You want to tell them anything about that before we sign off? Just kind of what to expect over the coming weeks?
Yeah, I'm going to teach people why their businesses are staying stagnant, why they're not growing, because ultimately, in a simple 10-second response, is that you need to add more products to your business. And if you're not adding anything else to your business, then you're just complacent. So, and that's the harsh truth. But that's it. And we'll talk about how to discipline yourself into growing the Medicare side of the business as well, and how to implement that very easy and how to explode your business with it. So very excited about it.
Phenomenal, man. Well, fired up to have you on the team, and let's grow. So thanks for being on.
Yep. Thanks, man.